What? Huh. Arilu's words are cut off by a quiet laugh. Sitting on the throne that was empty just a moment ago is none other than Nocticula, ruler of Aleutian Yera and the Midnight Isles, a powerful demon lord and the one they call Our Lady in Shadow. Her red lips curl into an ironic smile and her large eyes observe you with keen interest.
You were about to say, we are going to close the world wound, weren't you, Arilu? I see no reason to continue deceiving this mortal. Now I am convinced that he is quite worthy of serving me. I will even reward him with a modicum of knowledge about the events in which he is about to take part.
Greetings to you, Our Lady in Shadow.
Perishale swiftly drops to one knee and bows her head.
It's nice to see that even surrounded by mortals, you haven't forgotten who your mistress is, Perishale. You may rise.
I didn't mean to. I don't know why I did it.
Please allow me to greet you, great ruler of the Midnight Isles.
Your manner does not lack courtesy. That is to be commended. I have had my eye on you for a very long time. You see, it was at my behest that Lady Vorlesh imbued you with such incredible powers. But I was curious to see your worth as an individual, not as Lady Vorlesh's creation. Thus, I decided to postpone our meeting and see how you'd fare in Alishanira, and whether or not you could win respect and power among those not so easily impressed by outstanding magical abilities. Well, you've passed my test adequately by proving that your character and your will are stronger than the Nehindrian powers Lady Vorlesh has vested in you.
You are wise, my lady. However, only those who have never known or forgotten what it is like to be mortal can so easily dismiss the importance of power. To be someone whose life is fragile and can be cut short at any moment, like a candle snuffed out by a gust of wind.
It is a shame your angel has left you, mortal. I would have liked to talk to him. I don't expect I will get another chance, as that celestial buffoon's days are numbered.
You were able to see the hand of the inheritor despite his enchantments?
The herald of that upstart goddess. Here.
Yes, although his defenses were quite intricate. A commendable precaution on his part, as word of the hand of the inheritor descending once more into the abyss reached the echo of Discari almost immediately. Mind you, vindictiveness and guile have always been among his best qualities.
But he told me his magic deceived the eyes of all evil spawn of the abyss. Not yours?
Perhaps you don't know everything about me yet, mortal. Perhaps you made the same mistake as many before you, and many who were more insightful and more powerful than you, by presuming to know what to expect from the Lady in Shadow.
Tell me about the Echo
He is a
Discari.
strange creature, a bespoke creation, so to speak. Long before the world wound was opened, Discari, that little cricket, was seeking a way to have some fun on Galarian and assert his influence there. One day, he decided to gather a few strong mortal followers, fuse them together into one being, and pump that being full of his own power, in the belief that something worthwhile would come of it. That is how the Echo came to be. To the great dismay of both the Echo and the Lord of Crickets, the Echo was greeted by Eredin, protector of humankind. Eredin gave the Echo such a thorough thrashing, the whole abyss thought him dead. And yet he was not. Cricket, the younger, is alive and well, though I cannot say the same for Eredin. But the Echo remembers his humiliation still. He hates anything and everything related to Eredin, especially his inheritor, Ionade. Her heralds, her priests, her temples. He would hate Iomede's pet pug, if she had one.
Why does the echo prey upon the hand of the inheritor?
Envy, humiliation, ego. The usual playthings of little boys from all planes and realities. The Echo suffered more than one defeat. First at Eridan's hand, then under the onslaught of the forces of heaven. Those routes taught him to attack his enemies by stealth, boldly and often, killing and crippling anyone close to the light-bringing goddess. Now, it seems, he has decided the time has come. The Herald of Iomade himself is in the abyss alone, without a retinue of lesser angels. He's an interesting little bird, that angel. Before he became the Herald of Iomade, he served Regathiel, the General of Vengeance. I've always found the fate of that Imperial Lord to be quite fascinating. Did you know that the father of the Upper Plains' top military leader was a devil from hell? Regathiel had to achieve many feats to redeem his unholy legacy in the eyes of the other Imperial Lords. But he did. A remarkable tale, is it not?
Oh, well, I guess that also means that Rougelet can still redeem herself. It is possible. Haha. Anyways, your conversation is interrupted by a concerned-looking succubus who silently approaches Nocticula and then begins fervently whispering into her ear. Nocticula's expression turns hard and cold as Nocticula ponders the new development. The messenger makes eyes at you playfully. You recognize those green eyes, except they were awash with pain when you last saw them, and their owner bleeding out in the caverns of the Nexus. The succubus smiles slyly and gives you a wink. There's steel in Nocticula's voice. Another island, another loss. Enough. I warned them that I would not stand for the desolation of my realm. They have not heeded me, and they will regret it. Go to your sisters and tell them to repair. Huh. That green-eyed succubus, I know her. Yes, you've already met Luele, my talented assistant. I've heard she was very convincing at acting out her tragic death in the minds of the Nexus. As you can see, I've been watching you since your very first moments in the Abyss, and even a little earlier. Okay. I have prepared a beautiful intrigue that will topple many of your enemies and seal the world wound forever, ending the threat to Galarian, and you have the chance to become part of that intrigue. My companion Ember would like to speak with you. Ember, so that's her then. Well, approach. Cocking an eyebrow, Nocticula looks down on her. I have heard you bleating your pathetic prayers at me. You have some nerve addressing me with such nonsense. Did you think I would simply repent and renounce my status as a demon lord? Do you have any idea what I had to do to acquire it? Wait, what is this? Tears are rolling down Ember's cheeks as she sniffles noisily. She presses her maimed hands against her heart as she stares up at Nocticula. Her fragile form shudders from weeping. Why have you brought this simpleton here? This is Lucianiera, not Neresian. We don't give alms here. Nocticula throws a disgusted look at the crying girl. I can't stand these noises. Do you think you're the first to try to move me with a display of tears? It only makes me angry. If you wish to speak, then wipe your nose and speak clearly. Ember wipes her face with her sleeve. I know what you had to do to others and yourself. I'm sorry. So sorry. If only I could ease your pain somehow, calm your nerves. You should hear her out. My realm, I decided whom I should listen to and whom I should hang. Be quiet. Ew. So where were we? My pain, my sorrows, what nonsense are you talking? After taking a trembling breath, Ember wipes the tears streaming down her face. I'm sorry, you're the most miserable soul I've ever seen. I've seen people burned alive, people being devoured by monsters, people burying their children. They were in pain, so much pain, but I've never seen anyone in as much pain as you. What is this sartreine dribble? What do you even know of me, Nat? I've seen your city. You are the one who built it. It is the way you wanted it to be. It holds all of your dreams, all of your heart, and everyone in the city is suffering. Everywhere, all the time, every minute. All who live here are hurting and scared. And these are its citizens. How miserable must its ruler feel? And this is what you brought her to me for? You think this infantile sniveling is worthy of my attention? I've seen the truth of her wisdom more than once. Perhaps it would benefit you to listen to her as well. As if I haven't seen enough sanctimonious bores in my life. But what do you suggest I do, preacher? Beg the good God's forgiveness? Devote myself to serving a sword-swinging upstart perchance, or that old crone on the moon? No, gods can't help anyone. They're just like us mortals, silly, frightened, clueless. You're almost a goddess yourself. You know better than anyone that no one can save you. No one except you. Save me? From what exactly? I swear, if this turns out great, Ember is the most powerful character in this game. From yourself, from what you've done to yourself, from the city you've imprisoned yourself in. Listen. Ember's voice rings desperately. You are a queen, but you're the queen of pain and filth. Your realm is a realm of your own suffering. You're almost a goddess. You can do anything you want, so why won't you make yourself happy? You could become the Redeemer Queen. Okay. Tilting her head back, Nocticula explodes with wild laughter. Her body is shaken and she doubles over, slapping her thighs with her palms. When she is finally done laughing, she catches her breath. The Redeemer Queen. That's new. Never in all my years have I heard anything like that. Well, child, enough joking. Get out of my sight, or I'm afraid I might decide to keep you here forever as my fool. Upon giving Nocticula one last smile, Ember ducks behind your back. You hear her whispering, "You think she took my words to heart?" Probably. That would be great. I told you to get out. I don't want to hear your squeaky voice again. Did it really create me? She has certainly had a hand in your present state of existence. Lady Vorlesh designed the world wound, a magical phenomenon of unfathomable power. To seal it, we required a key that was just as strong and unique. Simply put, we required a champion, and she chose you. Both your powers and that wound on your chest were the result of her experiments, when she infused your soul with the essence of the abyss. Of course, you remember none of that. Everything was done in secret. Even the power granted to you was purified, to the extent that that was possible, so that you would not guess its source ahead of time. In trial after trial, we watched your will be tempered, and when the time came, we started fueling you with the energies of Nahidrian crystals. These energies are necessary for the task at hand. Everything that's happened to you was part of my intrigue. I was going to summon you and reveal the truth when the time was right. Instead, you have followed your queen's orders and arrived here early. One can only hope that you were prepared to accept the truth. Everything has its price. Your wound was, in essence, the flip side of all my experiments. There was a reason why we required a true champion, not merely a living tool whom we could fling into the flames of the world wound and close it like any lesser rift. I think you should know that. Don't be too hasty. We have burdened him with enough revelations for now. Give him time to become accustomed to the truth about himself, then you can share all the details. Now, what exactly are you offering me? I am offering you the chance to become my weapon. I may not know the reasons why Galfrey sent you into the abyss, but I know how I can use your crusade to our mutual benefit. Your enemies are a thorn in my side as well as yours. What's more, I have never schemed against Golarion, nor have my warriors taken part in the conquest of your plane. At least not at my behest. There's no cause for enmity between us. Why would you want to close the world wound? When the world wound opened, I was pleased. My realm was now connected to another plane. I wanted to make it into a crossroads of worlds, a place where demons, devils, and even angels could meet. The wound was a convenient path along which I could advance my ideas, but the Midnight Isles were not the only realm that had been linked to Golarion through the wound. Discari and Baphomet now also had a way from their realms into your plane. Their servants flooded my islands and spread out across them like a plague of locusts, killing guests who were under my protection, questioning my rule, and they were driven by their lust to conquer and enslave, whether on Golarion or in another abyssal realm. I was forced to shift my focus and express my discontent. Eventually, atop the bones of our servants, we reached an accord. I would let their armies pass, and they would comply with my wishes while on my islands. Of course, the accord is a polite fiction. Both the Discarites and the Baphamites are attempting to amass their power and influence an illusionary to overthrow me. When they think I'm not watching, they break my taboos and reveal their own impudence. And worst of all, Lady Vorlish told me about the Nahedrian crystals. They realized what kind of power the crystals hold, and now they are determined to mine every last deposit hidden within my islands. And once an island loses its crystals, it becomes nothing but flotsam, slowly sinking into the dark waters of Ishiar. With every lost island, my power is diminished. I could start a war and kill the plunderers, but a major conflict would hinder some of my other plans. So instead, I will teach my neighbors a lesson by orchestrating their ignominious defeat at the hands of a mortal. God. Whatever. What do I gain by serving you? A reasonable question. One must always serve one's own interests. Well, rest assured that you will be adequately rewarded. I will give you gifts befitting your ambitions, and my patronage which you can certainly count on, will prove more valuable than any enchanted trinkets you could dream of. You're so powerful, why do you need me? If I were to make a move myself, it would start a war. Not that I'm afraid of doing so, but it would hamper my more important plans. Baphomet and Discari could never best me, but they could sow enough chaos and spill enough blood that visitors from other planes would shudder at the mention of Lucianira. No, I will wage a war on my own terms, in the shadows, and I will remain unseen until I drive my blade in my enemy's back. And since Galfrey happened to send you into my realm, you have the honor of becoming my blade, mortal. Be glad you're wielded by skillful hands. We should also reveal how exactly our blade will be employed. We can discuss the details later when the moment is right. Now is not the time for idle conversation. How exactly do you plan to close the world wound? It is a uncomplicated magical process. We will receive precise instructions. You will receive precise instructions once you've captured the Threshold Fortress in Golarion. There, at the exact spot where Lady Vorlish opened the world wound, you will be able to close it. But first, you have to crush the Guardians of the Threshold, and their forces are growing by the day. Hepzibah, Baphomet's daughter, is mining a large number of Nahedrian crystals in my realm. These crystals are her secret weapon. No army on Golarion can stand against them. You must stop Hepzibah. If you do not, your world will fall, and my plans will suffer significant harm. At one time, I disclosed the secret of transformation to two servants of Baphomet and Discari, Xanthir Vang and Mutasafet. It was a well-calculated gambit, which bought us time and assured both Discari and Baphomet of my loyalty. Mutasafet is Hepzibah's favorite. He oversees the transformation of her army. Now, Samira is currently on another island far from here. The route to the place is plagued by pirates, monsters, tempests, and other more terrifying dangers. Have you heard of the living bubbles of frozen time that swallow airships? And when the ships reach port, their crews discover they've been gone for 100 years. That is not the strangest occurrence you could encounter on your journey. I'm willing to provide you with a decent ship and an experienced crew. If you kill Hepzibah, it will stop her sinking any more of my islands, but without giving Baphomet a cause to declare war on. Then again, I'm not offering you anything new, as you are already enjoying my favor, Commander. Your companion is a succubus, and I'm the succubus queen. This demon follows you around only because I allow it. Tell me, Rochelet, are you grateful that I'm not forbidding you from traveling with the commander and fighting against your own kind? The succubus reluctantly lowers her head. You are incredibly generous, our Lady in Shadows. Dilo winks at you. So what do you think, Commander? Personally, I'd rather take my chances rowing to this other island far from here in a rusty bucket than make any deals with the Lady in Shadows. I'll steer. Why is it so important to kill Hepzibah? Dasgari and Baphomet won't just stand there and watch you close the whirlwind. They'll send their armies after you, so you will need a army of your own, and that is something the Crusaders won't have for long. Hepzibah is mining more and more hindering crystals to empower her forces when she attacks Galarian. If you don't stop her, the Crusader resistance will be crushed, and the ranks of demons pouring through the world wound into your world will multiply 100-fold. You were sent here to cut off the demon army's supply of hindering crystals, weren't you? Well, that's exactly what you're going to accomplish. I will consider your offer, Lady in Shadow. And accept it, I'm sure. I respect your caution and won't force you into submission. We all stand to gain if you do my bidding of your own volition. An interesting destiny lies before you, mortal. You will rise to great heights and play a part in events of titanic proportions. Many would give their life for a chance to tread such a path. Now, Samira visits Lucianera every now and again, but her true lair is far from here. She hides on the island of Pathfinder, to the northeast of my archipelago. There lies her secret fortress, and the deep mines her slaves dig the hindering crystals for the invading army she plans to bring to Galarian. I will give you a magnificent airship and an experienced crew to take you there. It will be a long and perilous journey. Take some time to prepare. I wish to inform you of treason. Is that so? Who's it you've decided to inform on? And more importantly, how did you learn these traitors, and how credible are these accusations? Shamir is researching on the hinging crystals in secret. Perhaps she is planning to overthrow you. A small smile appears on Nocticula's lips. How nice of you to warn me. I'm impressed. I do wonder, however, did you really think I was unaware of this, or did you merely want to demonstrate your loyalty? Either way, I appreciate you telling me. I will take this as proof that I can rely on you. You were very astute to uncover Shamir's desire to dethrone me, and it was particularly sensible of you to keep your mouth shut about the secrets of the Nahedran crystals. I suppose your caution calls for a reward. Mining the Nahedran crystals is a surefire way to sink the island of the crystals. The crystals are on to the bottom of Ishiar. I assume you understand why all who attempted to procure them on Linithia were executed. At least you didn't tell Shamir about the mines you found. The last thing I need is the ardent dream burrowing under my capital. Why do you still tolerate Shamir? Someone has to deal with trivial matters. Shamir's betrayal was assured the moment I made her my favorite, just as Zephyrian's before her. The second always dreams of rising to be the first. I know the feeling well. A friend of mine, the storyteller, has peered into the future. In his vision, Hepzibah was sending demons after you. The demons were strengthened by the hindering crystals. A hint of dangerous excitement creeps into her voice. You are a font of knowledge, my dear guest. Let's just say I'm not surprised by her appetites, the ambitions of that brat, or her lecherous goad of a sire. We're bound to surface sooner or later, but your warning will encourage me to keep a closer eye on her. You could have gone to Heptamira with this and received a payment for your silence. Your foresight must not go unrewarded. Secret ingredient. I've said everything I wanted to say. I killed Willidus, your court mage. No, Henderson says, I'm aware of this. Of course, it is lamentable in a way, since his fear of me was strong enough to make him impeccably loyal. However, his death is but a single move in a much larger game. In games like this, losing a few pawns is unavoidable. Whew, this is a lot of talking, chat. I apologize. I need some water. Ooh, boy. I want to ask you about other powerful denizens of the Abyss. Are you interested in one of my servants, or do you wish for me to tell you something about your enemies? What is your relationship with Aurilu? He works for me, isn't it obvious? Lady Vorlesh is very talented. She may be the most brilliant and capable mind ever to come from your plane, and the guile she used to betray one demon lord master after another impressed me so much that I offered her the position of my advisor on matters of magic. Naturally, the esteemed Lord Goat and Lord Locust don't know a thing about the betrayal of her faithful lackey, Lady Vorlesh. I plan to keep it a secret for a while longer. Betrayal is too strong a word. I opened the path to Galarian for those two, and I told them how to extract power from the hindering crystals. That will suffice. Doesn't it bother you that Aurilu serves another master? I'm not prone to jealousy. Let Daskari think Lady Vorlesh serves him still. His bug brain seems incapable of sensing betrayal. As for Baphomet, he, like any talented liar, is most vulnerable when he's trying to deceive someone else. He was so pleased to have fooled Daskari that he became blind to the treachery that has happened right under his snout. In truth, Lady Vorlesh's loyalty is mine alone. God, this would this would be hilarious if it turns around going back and Vorlesh is like, hey, I never properly served you. It was always him. Anyways, loyalty is for fools. Shared interest, that is what rational minds rely upon. That and fear. No one in their right mind would oppose the Lady in Shadow. How did Aurilu become your servant? When the world wound was first opened, it only led to Daskari's realm. But then there was another more powerful breach. The wound expanded, and its path now passes through my realm and Baphomet's as well. Before long, all sorts of interlopers had heard about the power contained within the crystals here, and the Midnight Isles were soon overrun with agents from my new neighbors. They flouted my embargo, burrowing greedily into my rocks, stealing my crystals. The main culprit was one Aurilu Vorlesh. And she was the one who discovered the energies of the hindering crystals. I had captured her and was about to carry out her agonizing execution when Lady Vorlesh offered me something I desired even more than her death. She entered my service, and her main task since then has been to close the world wound. Once it is sealed, my realm will once again be cut off to those of Baphomet and Daskari, and their slaves will no longer be able to infiltrate my islands with such ease. You remember the elven archmage who used to serve you 1,000 years ago? He's still alive. We know each other. Really? He was well past his youth even back then, and now, just how old is he? Can mortals even live that long? Well, apart from your immortal Aslanti, they allowed him on behalf of Lady of Shadow and tell him that the one who replaced him has disappointed me immensely with his incompetence. No matter how hard he tried, he could never live up to my magnificent elf. You know, you managed to surprise me. A rare occurrence for someone who knows just about everything. Are Baphomet and Daskari your allies? Allies is too strong a word for our relationship. Our connection was forged by circumstances, not out of a desire to deal with each other. When the world wound opened, it tied your world to our realms. It did not join my armies with theirs, but I was forced am forced into making peace with them so as not to get bogged down in a tiring and distracting war. Ugh. There's always going to be one of these moments, chat, where we're going to run into a lot of dialogue, and this is one of them. And I do apologize for all this dialogue. For those of you who don't really want to pay attention to all this and just want to get on with the game, I'm really interested. I'm really in depth with this story. I'm absolutely loving it. Anyways, if I had the opportunity, I would have met them on my terms and expanded my territories at their expense. Unfortunately, this is not currently possible. By the way of one of them came to me with the other of an atrocious alliance that involved conceiving little ones together. I'm still contemplating the specifics of my refusal. It needs to be clear and unambiguous. Everything's clear to me. I want to know more about you. Recounting my whole story would take longer than your brief mortal life allows. The list of demon lords I've slain is endless on its own, as is the number of islands under my rule. And that's just the past. There's also my future. How'd you become a demon lord? Bear in mind that I have always been unique ever since I was born. I was the first succubus of the abyss, the perfect specimen of my race. I had been enjoying my youth, sharing it with my brother and lover until the hungry gaze of the demon lord and Hindri fell upon me. Oh, right. That greedy tyrant saw me as a jewel to be added to his treasure hoard. He tried to abduct me. I knew I had no chance of defeating a demon lord, but in that moment I was not thinking at all. I was fighting for my freedom. When it was all over, Nahindran was dead. I eviscerated him, and for many days afterward, blood spewed from his open carcass. First, his body turned to stone, then his blood, which had been flowing like a stream, began to crystallize in massive purple glaciers. Now do you see why they are called Nahindrian crystals? Perhaps they should be called Nocticulan crystals, because as Nahindri's blood crystallized, so too did my understanding of my power. Soon after, I began my campaign of conquest. I was cunning and swift, and the demon lords themselves trembled before me, knowing I could take their very lives. Only when all the abyss spoke my name with terror and reverence did I decide that I had killed enough. I had a realm. I had power I no longer shared with my brother. I had servants, and most importantly, I had safety. No one has ever repeated old Nahindri's mistakes. No one has tried to make me their slave. Are the Midnight Isles really the corpses of slain demon lords? Yes, my realm is quite literally built on the bones of my slain enemies. Ironic, isn't it? Oh God, I actually did not think about that. Oh God. Well. Okay. How did you turn the dead demon lord into islands? Surely you don't expect me to reveal the secret to you. There is no need for mortals to learn the weaknesses of demon lords. All I can say is that everything started with my desire for revenge. After I had dealt with Nahindri, I was furious at the thought of the vile, lecherous wretch just teleporting over to the Rift of Repose, where he could turn to stone and stay there to rot for the remainder of eternity. I wanted to trample his foul corpse to keep his bloody body within my sight forever. I yearned to display my glorious trophy to all of the abyss, and that's when my power first manifested. I studied my newfound abilities and learned how to use them. Before long, I possessed not just one island, but an entire archipelago. Now, what do you plan to do next? Subdue all of the abyss? Possibly, or perhaps I have something grander in mind. The abyss? Who cares about the abyss? Oh, I have no question. I have a question. From her sleeve, Nenia produces a pencil and a piece of paper. Lady Nocticula, how many copulation partners have you had? I'm making a list for the encyclopedia, and I believe you take one of the top spots. Sela tries prodding Nenia's side, but not before the question is asked. For a few tense moments, Nocticula appears into Nenio's face and yours and smiles with the slightest curve of her lips. What matters to me is not quantity, but quality. And I am well ahead of any other denizens of the abyss in that regard. That is where we will end this discussion. Find the part for Colifir. Your guards must watch over my camp in the Nexus and all who are residing there. Regardless, I will send my assassin to ensure that no harm comes to your entourage. Be grateful for my patronage, mortal. I still have some business to take care of in Evolutionera. Arilu, you are no longer needed here. As you will, my lady. Vanishes, but you notice the look in her eyes, pensive and appraising. Articulate casts a piercing glance at the spot where Arilu was but a moment ago, then spots you with a commanding gesture. There is one more thing we must discuss: the Lexicon of Paradox. Lady Vorlesh's magical treatise that contains many secrets of the world. You and my servant, Lady Vorlesh, were just talking about the Lexicon of Paradox. For many years, it has remained split in half, harmless. But what was once divided can be made whole again. Who knows what power the book could impart to its owner? What if they expand the world wound even further, or connect it to other planes? Not a chance. The Lexicon of Paradox has caused more than enough trouble already. You already possess the first half of the book. Find the other one and bring them both to me. I will reward you handsomely. Giving the book into my keeping will also protect Galarian from suffering a second war wound disaster. The Lexicon of Paradox will be much safer under my watchful eye than in your travel bags. Wouldn't you agree? So it hasn't actually been confirmed, but one of my guesses is that Arilu somehow may have gotten hold of the storyteller's books, the storyteller's notes. That's my guess, and his notes is what was able to help Arilu connect the whirlwind, connect planes. My guess is that those notes are actually the Lexicon of Paradox. And what we've been doing with the storyteller is actually collecting all the notes to the other half. That's my guess. I don't know if that's true. Don't tell me, chat. But that's my guess. Anyways, why do you need this book? One world wound alone has been enough of a nuisance for me. I want to ensure that some future mage leafing through this book doesn't link my realm to another world, another plane. I'll consider your offer. I still have some business to take care of. You have taken a liking to my city, I see. Well, then savor it to the fullest, and then come back for truly important business. Oh dear God. Chat. I gotta go. Thank you guys so much for coming out to the stream. Oh.